So when as you asked me, when you understand, when I had that feeling that something is wrong, is the moment I entered with Messi, I saw many people inside the ground, because
Yeah.
whatever we had a meeting with the police, it was clearly mentioned that there are all in the show floor, there are only strict people who will be close to Messi. And then the sports minister came inside the ground. He was not part of the show floor. How can he come inside the ground? And the first thing he did, which is very, very, which looks very, which looks very indecent, was he came and he touched his shoulder, he touched his waist, and started taking photos. I became the victim. And then, in order to save their self, this lacuna, this breach of security, they needed a scapegoat. I was made the scapegoat. Because you tell me one thing, Lionel Messi is a global figure. How
Yeah.
can people come and take photos inside the ground? Messi got pissed off when there was a guy who came, started taking selfies and, pushed Rodrigo deep.
Yeah.
Then he got angered. And then he was saying, these guys were not part of the show floor. How they are coming? This. And then, he had an insurance of close to $1 billion.
So, hi, sir. How are you?
All well, all well.
So, sir, we had spoken about the Messi event a couple of weeks before it happened. We had a brief chat about it, and you passionately told me how you convinced Messi and his father to come to India, and it took almost 3 years for you to convince him with all the plans and all the traveling and all. So, at what point did you realize that the things have started to go wrong at that event? Because when he arrived in India, it was such a positive environment. When he landed in Kolkata, everything was positive on social media. Everybody was happy. The crowds were ready to come to the stadium to witness Messi. So when did you find that something is going off and things can get messy?
So I'll tell you. First, let me brief you on few of the points which needs to be known by the fans. This
Yeah.
event was a Z and Z plus event. Okay, and the Z plus Z category was was instructed by Home Ministry to the Bengal government, and they were told that this event should get a Z category security. Interestingly, after even that, chief minister was the chief guest. Okay, so chief minister was having Z plus security. So if you see, this event was a Z plus security event. Okay, now as an event organizer, I had done all sort of approvals for protection, all sort of licensing, all sorts of approval. We had a meeting at least 15 to 20 times with the police officials. So as an organizer, I have done all SOPs, all protocols which was needed. Okay, but I was never a law enforcer. I was an event organizer. So if you see all this Z and Z category, this can only be enforced by the administration and the police department, right? So when as you asked me, when you understand, when I had that feeling that something is wrong, is the moment I entered with Messi, I saw many people inside the ground, because
Yeah.
whatever we had a meeting with the police, it was clearly mentioned that there are all in the show floor, there are only strict people who will be close to Messi. So who are they? They were the footballers, the two team footballers who will do a handshake. There are the flag bearers who will take the photo. Then the kids will do a tiki taka, a sort of small football activities with Messi. And Mamta Banerjee, the CM, Shah Rukh Khan, Saurav Ganguly, me, and two of my PR agent will do a short, coverage of it. Other than
Hmm.
that, nobody was given the proximity card. Okay, and
Yeah.
nobody was there in the show floor. So when I entered, the first thing I saw was unsolicited people who I was very sure was not part of the show floor, and they was not given a card also. They were there. Then there were many people, at least 100 to 120 people who were not part of anywhere. I don't know. They were not part even of the. They didn't got the access card also. So they entered the ground, and the first field when I entered Messi in the ground, they started taking photos, and they're engulfing him. Then I the CP and the DG was there in the ground. The first thing I told CP Bidhan Nagar, that sir, how can these people be there? They were not given any access. They're saying, I'm figuring it out, this and that. And the show flow got, and then the sports minister came inside the ground. He was not part of the show flow. How can he come inside the ground? And the first thing he did, which is very, very, which looks very, which looks very indecent, was he came and he touched his shoulder, he touched his waist, and started taking photos. So the sports minister, came inside the ground, intruded in the ground. First thing he did was, started, putting hands on his shoulder and the waist. And Messi, being a nice guy, kept quiet. And then Messi's manager and came to me and said that, this guy is not part of the show flow. How is there, and how so many people are there? They're not part of the show flow. Why they're there? I again told the CP that you make sure that this guy goes out of the ground. Then I took the mouthpiece and I started, announcing that please leave this ground. Please leave this ground. Fans have paid money and they wanted to see Messi. Please leave the ground. But then what happened? The sports minister started calling people, and I don't know who are they. They started calling people and started taking photos, and then it started. Everything started going in a different trajectory. Then so many other people came, they started taking selfies. The sports minister had his 8 to 10 bodyguards who were also surrounding Messi. And then obviously when we deviate from the show flow, things will happen in that way, right? But then again,
Yeah.
I tried my level best. I thought, let me take a round, so that if I can waste a little bit of time, if the chief minister comes, I think
Mm.
the crowd will disperse. But again, he got some family members, he got few other people, started taking pictures, and he was not listening to anybody. So that was the problem. See, I being an event organizer, I am not a law enforcer. The law enforcer is the administration and the police. If I had, if there was a lacuna in my management, then how could have I done Hyderabad? How could I have done Mumbai? How could I have done Delhi? It was the same management, right? My same team.
Yeah.
And it happened without me. It happened with only my team members, because it happened because the police, the Hyderabad government, the Telangana government gave me the proper security. Same with Maharashtra government. They were matured. The Mumbai police acted. They followed all the accreditation card which was issued. The show flow. I'll tell you the most important part. Even in Delhi, there was high profile people. Nobody was allowed inside the ground, because only people who were named in the show flow, that was allowed in the ground. This show flow was given by Messi, which was forwarded to all the departments. Interestingly, the chief minister's department was given the show flow. I went to DG's office 4 days before the event with the CP of Bidhan Nagar and ADG Law and Order. I clearly explained him the show flow, and I even told him this is Lionel Messi. If people gets inside and gets excited, this event will get into in a jeopardized condition. He said, "Don't
Mm.
worry, we'll take care." We did 16 to 20 meetings. I have taken all permissions. I have documented those permissions. They can't say that permissions were not taken. Everything I had done. Basically what happened was I became the victim. And then in order to save their self, this lacuna, this breach of security, they needed a scapegoat. I was made the scapegoat, because you tell me one thing: Lionel Messi is a global figure. How
Yeah.
can people come and take photos inside the ground? Messi got pissed off when there was a guy who came, started taking selfies, and pushed Rodrigo de
Yeah.
Paul. Then he got angered, and then he was saying these guys were not part of the show floor. How they are coming? This, and then he had an insurance of close to $1 billion, right?
Yeah.
So, and I had three other events. Just think if something would have happened in the ground, Messi got pushed, it would become a national embarrassment. So
Yeah.
looking on that security part, and then Messi said, I can't stay. His manager said, no, we can't stay, because he has a problem of he doesn't like a claustrophobic atmosphere, where people come and hound him. So that's the main reason. It's a complete failure of the police, complete failure of the administration, because the CM was supposed to come in 5 to 10 minutes, right? When you would have
Yeah.
come, you would have seen 100 people on the ground. How it is possible? When the police issued a proximity card, when police was informed before that this is the show flow, how could have these people intruded there? They and they formed a special investigation team, where they only called me. I told them it is there in the public domain. It was covered by Doordarshan. So many people are there on the ground. Why don't you go calling the sports minister? We are not calling so many bureaucrats who got inside the ground. They were keeping mum. See, that's why I've been saying that investigation which happened, which is happening, it's not, it's a biased investigation. How can police investigate against their own colleagues? You tell me. The Bidhannagar CP was show caused. The DG was show caused. The
Yeah.
Bidhannagar CP was part of the SIT, that special investigation team. How can he do a probe against where he has been show caused? Why was not once the sports minister being called and asked that to clarify why, how, and what capability you were there in the ground? Your name was not part of the show flow. I can share you the show flow also. That has been mailed to every police department in Calcutta, in Hyderabad, in Mumbai, and in Delhi. Every police department made sure that nobody else enters the ground leaving Calcutta. Calcutta was hijacked by the minister and the bureaucrats. I can openly say that.
So you just mentioned about the political interference in the whole fiasco, and also was the TMC leaders or TMC workers were involved in any of the planning or in ground arrangements of the event, or did Anup Viswas or people associated with him were directly interfere in operational decisions during the event, before the event, basically, so that
No, no, I'll tell
uh,
you, he has been, the first thing what he did was, he was pushing me for giving access card to the ground, accreditation card to the ground, which
yes,
after a certain stage I said I'll not give. Then he told me no, then it can't happen because I have pressures, this and that. I said I'll not give it, and I also informed the police that there is a pressure is coming. He and his team put my whole team who was issuing the accreditation card. They were basically put in a room for 1 hour, and they told, until unless your boss gives this card approval, we are not going to leave you. So that sort of presentation, this minister and his team and the Salt Lake CEO gave our team. And I'll tell you, the police knew the show flow. We had issued 393 accreditation card. Everybody was given a proper, slabs at zone, that beyond this zone nobody can go. In the close proximity, the field of play, only I repeat, it was the footballers of the two teams, two officials each from these two teams, the kids who was doing football activities, those flag bearers, then it's the chief minister, then it is Shah Rukh Khan, this is Shourav Ganguly. Nobody else was given. I was wearing an accreditation card. I being the promoter of the event, but those people who came inside, nobody had that accreditation card. How can police allow you? That's why I asked them. There are only two entries to the ground. One is through those where the players comes in, and then there is
hmm,
another gate number two. There
yeah,
should everybody should check the CCTV and find out who has allowed it, because the frisking and all the security thing was been handled by the police. We even asked that let us give us an opportunity to put our people, but they said no. security has to be taken out by our own police. Now, if they allow people, I'll tell you, how can a organizer, nobody in the art can do it. If I am incapable, I should be incapable in all the three other cities, right? How can it
Yeah.
happen so smoothly?
So you claim that Shah Rukh Khan and Messi were supposed to share the stage in Kolkata. So how disappointing was it amidst the chaos, as everybody was blaming you at that point of time that the fans missed the glimpses of Messi, as he was basically crowded by everyone, and we saw a few visuals where people were snatching him, were pushing him. We saw Deepal getting, you already mentioned that Deepal getting shouldered, or Messi's t-shirt was, someone pulled his t-shirt also. We saw visuals, right?
Absolutely.
So how disappointing was it to see that the global stars of India, even Shah Rukh Khan and Saurav Ganguly, and even the CM, for the former CM currently, Mamta Banerjee, was supposed to come there, and the people, the VIPs or the political leaders, were behaving like that, on the ground, when they knew that these much bigger stars or the Indian personalities, global personalities, are there to come on the stage to meet
Absolutely.
Messi.
That's the immature part of these politicians. You just tell me one thing. The first, when you meet any global star or any legend, the first thing you should do is a handshake, right? You
Yeah,
can't touch the shoulder on the waist. Forget that. That guy was not part of the show flow. He was not part of the show flow. The show flow started with Messi meeting the two teams players, doing a handshake, then taking a photo with the flag bearers. Then the tiki taka starts. After the tiki taka ends, Shah Rukh Khan comes in. Then Shah Rukh Khan goes out. Mamta Banerjee, the ex CM, comes in, does the felicitation. Then Saurav Ganguly comes in. That was the show flow. Nobody else was part of the show flow. Police, knowing the show flow, how could have they allowed, as because he's a sports minister, he can bulldoze an event. That is has happened. It is an hijacked event. And I'll tell you one thing. Till now, I have never opened out. That's why the blame got passed on to me. The fact is, it is a security breach, and I'm not an enforcer, right? The law and the security is being enforced by the police, by the administration. The home ministry wrote the letter to the administration and police, not me.
yeah.
They gave put me on a CC, and they told me that security will be taken care. I had paid 30 lakhs, close to 30 lakhs to the administration for all sort of permissions. They said, this sort of security, coverage has to be there. We put everything. Tell me one thing again, I repeat, if I had failed, how could I have be successful in Hyderabad, Mumbai, and Delhi? It was the same event guy, right? It was the same team. By just making new stories, just saying that the organizer was not experienced. I got 22 players, World Cup legends to India in last 15 years.
Yeah.
I got Maradona to India. I got Pele to India. I had organized so many stadium events. Emilio Martinez to India. I have never failed. This happened because somebody bulldozed it, somebody hijacked it.
So you just mentioned about the bulldozed and the hijack thing. So the CM was supposed to come. So did she question Anup Biswas that why this has happened, and why he was involved in all this fiasco, and why he was present at the event when he was
See,
not in
I
the show floor?
See, I don't know. I was put in the jail, right? I was not privy to that. What has happened? I only heard that the DG and the Bidhannagar CP was show caused. But then you tell me, though the show cause CP was part of the special investigation team. What is the value of that? So there was abnormality from day one. If there is an investigation, it has to be an impartial investigation. And how it is possible a police team investigates on the police people who were involved? That's not possible. So that's why I'll be demanding. I'll the new government. I'll be requesting them to do one more investigation, unbiased investigation, be it a CID or form a new investigation team. I don't have a problem. There should be an impartial investigation that I have been demanding. See, the government has changed, and I think they'll look for, because there's so many fans who got disappointed, and I was given the blame that I failed. It's not me. If somebody, some powerful guy who being the sports minister comes in the ground, nobody on the earth can do anything. If the police can't do, how can I do it as a normal, sports entrepreneur? If you see Mumbai and Delhi, in Mumbai it was many Sachin was there, many
Yeah,
Bollywood stars were there. The chief minister was
yeah.
polished, polite, and if you see Delhi, Mr. Jaitley, Ron Jaitley, was there. So Jai
Mr.
Shah was
Jaisha was
there.
there. Yeah,
The Honorable Chief Minister
CM
Rekha
was
Gupta
there.
was there. Everybody, Baichung Bhutia was there.
Yeah.
Everybody acted in a matured way. The problem is in Calcutta, what happened was that we got an immature sports minister who just used his power, his clout, and he made it his own private show by taking pictures.
Do you believe somehow that the Kolkata fiasco made the other city officials or the political leaders a bit warned about the situation that they can't do this, or they were just following the same show flow, and they were happy with it. They were
No, no,
not.
no. Absolutely not. I'll tell you why. Because before this event, I met the complete, all the three states officials. They are very, very particular that who will be in the field of play. Because I gave them a warning that when you see Messi, it's very hard to stop your emotions. So I gave this warning to everybody. They acted it, because it is a matter of reputation of the state. See, it's more than me. It is a matter of respect for the state, right? It became a global headlines. People, you tell me one thing. Just think if something would have happened with Messi on the ground. What would have happened? Not only my three other events. Think about the international,
Yeah.
defame it would have brought.
So you recently said that now it's your turn to reveal the truth. So what are you planning to do at this point of time? What are your plans, and how? And do you believe that how can this not been happened, or how would you change that all of it had happened during that day?
just just making sure that people who are not part of any show flow or people who have not had the accreditation card doesn't enter the ground. It's a very simple thing. You don't allow people, event would have happened. Somebody could have taken two more pictures, but that's a different thing. But then what is the value of taking an approval from a police, asking them to give security? Then what is the value? Then it becomes a facade, right? That I take a permission, I do meetings, you do this, you issue cards, you issue identity cards, you create you bring the chief minister security, do a recce, this and that. But on the day, if you don't execute that or enforce that, then what is the value of doing it? I'm telling you, I've been doing it for last 15 years. I've done stadium events. Never it has happened. Somewhere few people are taken two, four, or two, three more pictures. That is normal. But here the thing was different. Here somebody made this his private event. He was calling bureaucrats. He's calling his family members taking pictures. You tell me it's a public event. How can he exercises this sort of unruly behavior? And the DG and the CP was there. Nobody stopped him. Nobody. When I was shouting and I'm telling that please make sure, remove these guys, nobody was listening. There are at least 1,000 police inside the ground.
So what are you planning to do with the new government set to take the charge of the state? Are you planning to do something against
No, I see.
the?
I'm going. I'm just requesting. Obviously, I'll go the legal route. See, it's
Yeah.
basically I'll obviously. I got defamed, right? A guy who have got 22 footballers to India, got Lionel Messi, his first private event in his life, got defamed due to this. So I'm filing a defamation case. My lawyers are planning it. I'll also file a damage case. Whatever damage has happened, the fans has lost an opportunity to see their hero. I'll obviously file case against everybody, be it a powerful guy, whoever was there inside the ground was not allowed, was not having the accreditation card. I'll file a case against everybody, and I'll request the new government do an impartial investigation, be it me, be it anybody. It shouldn't be discriminated because somebody is powerful. I'll request the court also to a departmental inquiry, whatever be. But there should be an impartial inquiry. It was there in the public domain. Doordarshan was showing it live. Sony Live was showing it live. Who are there inside the ground? It is there. It's not manufactured by me.
So after everything, the controversy, the political storm, and the jail time, do you regret bringing Messi to Kolkata?
Absolutely, I regret that I could have sold this to the billionaires. I could have made money, but being a son of the soil, being a bong, Calcutta being a football loving city, I wanted to dedicate to them. But I never knew that an immature guy who just wanted to have his mileage, he destroyed my event.
So at last, do you think such incident will break the confidence of people like you or other organizers to bring such global stars to India and to present them in front of fans, considering how an organizer can be made a scapegoat if situation get south way?
I'll tell you, for 3 days back, I was there in a event management conference, Shows of India. Every big event managers, big, event producers, they were saying that we are scared of doing anything in Calcutta, anything of this magnitude, or anything, because if you make the event manager or organizer a scapegoat so easily, then who will come and take the rescue? Tell me.
So thank you, sir, for sharing your views, and we will connect soon if
Absolutely.
any developments happen in this case, and you are filing the defamation case. If anything,
Not only defamation
anything.
case, not only defamation case, I'll file a damage case from everybody who was there in the ground. I'll go to Supreme Court if needed. I'm not leaving it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. Thank you
Okay,
very
thank you.
much.